Okay, today's video is about sheep stealing, and if you've been a part of church leadership or church culture, or have lived in, the Christian church community, I guess you'd call it, for any given amount of time, you would understand exactly what I'm talking about. The process and predatory process of pastors seeking to get believers that are attending a church somewhere else to come to their church and become members so they can bolster their own numbers for whatever reason is often frowned upon. But as it relates to online church, you basically see that process dialed to 11 to the point where it's no longer actually in control of the pastor themselves anymore. What I mean by this is that in any given circumstance of online church, what you're almost begging for is people to come see you. And because the act of being online is an act of agency, something I talk about in my book, and that most actions online are actions of agency, that things just don't happen to you. By posting your sermons online, you're begging to steal sheep because you know that people are going to be, looking for an online service based on what you're providing. This idea that agency is a part of everything we do online, that, we don't just happen online, or nothing happens to us online, we happen to online, if that's a better way to put it. That's in juxtaposition to what happens in reality. So one example would be if you attend a traditional church, and they sing hymns, and they have pews, and they're open on Sundays. And Saturday, you happen to be walking downtown, let's say, and there's a warehouse that has been converted into a new modern church, and they have their doors open, and the music is playing, and you can tell that it's a church service, and you walk in. That happened to you. That was people with their own agency doing something called church in a place at a time, and by you doing something that you wanted to do that was separate from that, walking down the street, those two things collided and that happened to you. Online, that's really never going to happen. If you find an online service, it's because you were looking for an online service, or you have, you follow the kinds of people that would present an online service, to your feed. So the building blocks for sheep stealing actually just get, expanded to, I'm not going to say disastrous proportions, but I do think we need to understand that this is a feature, not a bug, of online ministry. If everyone is promoting their material and posting it online, knowing that people are going to have to search for the title, search for the church name, search for the keywords, have already followed the church, or know people that have followed that church, that this whole idea of sheep stealing, that you're going to get Christians from other churches, that's built into the framework of online ministry. Very rarely, and we talked about this with the hashtags video that we did, very rarely are Christian terms that mean things to Christians going to show up organically in the feeds of non-Christians. They're not looking for things that are hashtag evangelism, okay, because they need someone to practice evangelism to get to them. And there's the whole nature of getting people to find church services. You have to take a different approach to how you label things, how you title things, where you're posting them, how you're posting them. A person who really knows their stuff when they come with this, Dave Adamson, does a great talk with Carrie Newhoff, where they talk about this stuff, where how we crafted sermons in the past doesn't work online. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But a sermon at a church for the church without the internet involved is very different than if you want a sermon to stand as a piece of content online. The approaches are different. And it's really just style and how you're constructing it, not really in the content that you're trying to provide, or like the exegesis from scripture, anything like that. But the nature of online content hosting almost wants sheep to be stolen. They want followers from other churches, essentially, to be able to see their stuff too, because that's engagement. I don't know how you would craft a sermon that would not appeal to other Christians to tempt them over, that would also not appeal to non-Christians in a way. Like, there's no divide. The the effort required to go check out another church because, you've heard their sermons are better, let's say, on that kind of one-dimensional level. The effort required to do that in real life is scaled down to 0 online. It is so easy to just check out other churches because they're trying to get people to engage with their content. And there's really no way to separate whether you're trying to get people who go to your church and don't go to your churches. There's no way to separate those in the way you craft your content without completely alienating one or the other. I don't think. I need to be convinced otherwise. So when it comes to the topic of sheep stealing, when it comes to agency online, these are things that I think pastors have to wrestle with, that online ministries have to wrestle with, because the truth of the matter is that your actions online are going to reach both Christians and non-Christians, whereas you can have evangelistic events that are targeting non-Christians in real life, and Christians can know not to come because it's through their church and whatnot. Online, you're going to attract Christians simply because what they're going to be looking for, even for their own church, like following their own church or following the people that attend to their church, will connect them with other people that go to other churches. It's just the nature of the beast. So if you go, let's say, on Facebook on a Sunday and you watch your church service, if you're on Facebook, unless you're like locked into that service, not checking any other Facebook posts, but even if you aren't and you check Facebook afterwards, you'll see other people posting their church services, which is awesome. It's like a whole bunch of churches happening at the same time. Great. But what you're going to see is transfer of people between these places because the framework's there for them to do so, and that's a feature, not a bug. You can't have the scale and the reach of the internet for people as a new demographic without also providing the scale and the reach for your people to leave to other people's churches. Something to consider, especially when it comes to agency on the line. Tell me what you think in the comments, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.